Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Loinky podcast. I'm going to be going over a lot of subjects in my podcast, basically anything that interests me, hobbies, mental health, philosophy, psychology, animals, advice, books, reviews, anything ever. Today we're going over the interest topic, which is the Backrooms. First, I wanted to talk about my personal experience with the Backrooms because I've been interested in it for a very long time, and then start talking about the movie more because it came out recently and there are such mixed reviews on it. I want to say my own. So, firstly, is my experience with the Backrooms. I started getting interested in it around 2022, I'd say, when the Kane Parson Pixels, that's his YouTube name, Kane Pixels video came out. And since then I had been hooked around the concept of liminal spaces and all that. Didn't know how to pronounce liminal for the longest time, but I've got it now. Liminal. So, after finding out about all that, I would play Roblox games centering around liminal spaces and the Backrooms and all that. And I learned a whole lot about it and the fact that we get comfort out of it, but also kind of scared because it's a very odd concept to think about because it's nostalgic. Like when you see a photo of a water park that looks like one that you went to when you were a child, but it's abandoned and there's something off about the filter. Maybe it's in a weird space like a hotel or something. There's always something at least a little weird about it. So that's why it's comforting, because of the nostalgia, but also in a weird way because of the overall feeling. And that's what draws me to the concept of liminal spaces and the Backrooms. So that's why it gives off two very different vibes at the same time. So I've always been kind of interested in the Backrooms. It's always been at the back of my mind. It's always been there, but it was very extreme right when the Kane Pixels video came out, and I started learning more about all of that. And then it came back again this year when the movie came out. So first I wanted to talk about other people's thoughts about it because it's very conflicting. Now I'm seeing more positive things about it, which I'm very glad about. But before I watched it, so a few weeks ago, because it's honestly still recent that I watched it, a few days ago, maybe last week. Before that, I was seeing everything negative that you could hear. And I was honestly really scared to watch it because everyone was saying that it was just really boring and they didn't understand it. Then I watched it. Very easy to understand, some underlying meanings and metaphors that you can easily pick up on. But apparently not to these people. I think that a lot of the audience who watched the Backrooms barely knew what it was before watching it. Now, I don't use the term LARPing much because it just sounds stupid to me, but these are LARPers. They see the Backrooms for the first time this year because the movie is coming out in like a few months. And they think, ooh, I want to watch that. That looks kind of cool. They watch the Kane Pixels video on it because they learn that's the director and he made content about it. They watch that one video read the 4chan post, and then wait for the movie to come out, and that's it. In order to understand the Backrooms, you have to research quite a lot because there is so much that goes into it. So I think it's true that if you watched it and disliked it or didn't understand it, then you're probably not a long-term fan. Just saying. Because when I found out that this movie was coming out, I was so excited. And then the first week, because I didn't go straight to theaters to watch it, but the first week where I heard people talking about it, it was all negative, and I was terrified. I was like, are you kidding me? They really made a concept that I am so into, they made it bad. Then I watched it. It's so good. Compared to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, because I've also been a Five Nights at Freddy's fan for a long time, that kind of met my expectations. Like, I'm not a movie critic. I'll say that. I don't watch a lot of film, like, at all. But still, I watch things sometimes, and the FNAF movie, it was good. It was entertaining. I'm the type of person who, if a film entertains me, then I give it more points. Because, again, I'm not a movie critic. I don't really care about the special stuff in it unless I'm very interested in it, you know? So, upon watching the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, it was good, it was entertaining, but certainly wasn't fully what I was expecting, you know? But anyway, I think what a lot of people who don't know a lot about the Backrooms expected when they watched it was 2 hours of dudes in hazmat suits going around the Backrooms and just exploring, finding a PNG of Kane Parsons and having that PNG chase you around the Backrooms for another hour. I think that's what they were expecting, honestly, and they didn't get it. But you know what would have happened if it was 3 hours of people in suits just walking around? They would have said, that's boring. But no, they say what we got was boring. While I was watching it, I was thinking, how are people finding this boring? I was fully engrossed. I was having so much fun watching it with all the underlying meanings and stuff, but people can't pick up on that. Because they don't like the Backrooms. They watched it because it's popular, because it became popular, and you can't do that. You can't just go into a movie theater, watch a movie that you know absolutely nothing about, even though you're supposed to, because it's the Backrooms. It's not just some random other film. Okay, you really have to understand the Backrooms itself in order to get what's going on. And I got it. I really did. So, firstly, I wanted to talk about Clark and the fandom view of him. First of all, he is not this perfect dude who just wanted to be an architect that I've seen a lot of people say, because there have been vent edits of him being sad, and I think that's great. But then I go to the comment section and there's a bunch of people just saying he just wanted to be an architect. Okay, so literally one of the first scenes in the movie, the first scene, we see Clark talking to Mary, his therapist, and he starts role-playing with her, pretending that she is his ex-wife and he is himself, for an exercise. I don't know if anyone noticed that he got really riled up, but he did. He was very angry throughout it, and if he acted that way during a reenactment of it, then can you imagine what he actually acted like toward his, at the time, wife? I don't know if we're understanding the underlying meaning, but he is not perfect at all. He uses his alcoholism to hide the fact that he is not the greatest person to his wife. That's what the movie was trying to get at, and I thought it was obvious by the way that he was yelling at Mary while she pretended to be his ex-wife when they had that argument and she kicked him out. I thought that was easy to grasp, but I guess not. Anyway, I also saw a video last night that was talking about how the Backrooms can represent Van Gogh, the artist, because Clark, Van Gogh, they are unappreciated while they're alive, okay? And that Van Gogh has created paintings of a yellow house, which can also represent the Backrooms, okay? And as we know, yellow usually represents youth and joy, but they take this space and turn it into something terrifying and uncomfortable. So I thought that was very interesting. Also, the son of Saturn, I'm not very much into that type of thing, but apparently Saturn ate his son just like Captain Clark ate Clark. Something to think about. So I also personally got reminded of the yellow wallpaper, which is a great, how many pages is it? Like 30-page book about a woman who has postpartum depression, and she stays within 4 walls that are a yellow wallpaper for a very long time and slowly goes crazy. There's a lot of symbolism with color theory going on here, and I think that's very interesting, because as soon as you think of a yellow wallpaper, you probably think Backrooms now, because it's more of a popular concept. And even though yellow is usually associated, I don't know, with joy and youth, that make it into something uncomfortable that you want to get out of immediately. Something else that I found interesting was Clark saying that he likes it in the Backrooms. This is representing self-sabotage. He wants to avoid the fact that he killed his workers, so he stays within the Backrooms so that he can avoid all of the rest of his problems in his life, like his problem with alcoholism and everything else that he's got going on. So that's some great symbolism too. And I also like how Mary and Clark are opposites, and that's obvious throughout the film. But I do wish that they went more into Mary's past, because we got a glimpse into what living in her house was like when she was young and how her parent treated her, which was very interesting. It can really impact the way you think when you're older, obviously, just like the rest of your childhood, because childhood is a main indicator of what you act like and what your thoughts are your entire life when you're older. So that's interesting. Something that I do like about how the way the film is treated is these memes of Kane Parsons, and that one photo of him, it's great. They always have to mention his age in the photos. Like, Kane Parsons has multiplied. He is 20 years old. Okay. Thank you. So, apparently, Kane Parsons is also wanting to create a Backrooms 2. I'm not sure exactly what to expect out of this, but I know that it's going to be so cool. I don't know why I just did the new metal pose. Anyway, I'm guessing that it'll just be with a different person, but the same concept. Maybe they work in a different area, or I'm guessing they'll just find it in a different way, and maybe the psychological effects will be a little different, because the Backrooms is all about the psychology of the mind and what it does to you. It makes you go crazy, basically, which is interesting. And also reminds me of House of Leaves, which is a book that my father has multiple tattoos of that I read myself. And throughout the entire film, I was thinking, this is familiar, because as I expected, it's a lot like House of Leaves. If anyone doesn't know that book, please go research it, because it's a lot like the same concept. I mean, it's about a family who moves into a new house, and behind a bookshelf, I think it is, there are a bunch of random rooms, which I believe are also yellow. Again with the yellow, it's great. And they venture around these rooms only to find out that there is something very terrifying in there that is never revealed specifically, but in one of the pages, they say that the creature is this black thing that is very big and kind of human-like. So there's that, but it's never explicitly said what they are, you know. But it's a very crazy setup of a book. Some pages only have like literally one word or half of a word, and then others have so many words. Overall, it has 602 pages, I believe, but with the pages that are like very long or very short, I'm not sure what it would even out to exactly, but yeah, it's a great read. I also saw someone on TikTok saying that they got reminded of the Greek labyrinth and the Minotaur within that, which is talked about in House of Leaves also. So, and they were talking about the Backrooms in that video and how it reminded them of the Greek labyrinth with the Minotaur. And there was a whole section in House of Leaves just about that. So, interesting concept. I've yet to watch Obsession. It's another movie that's created by a YouTuber, and it does look really interesting. There are a lot of memes I've seen about it recently, but the question I have to ask is it actually scary? Because I've seen the scene that's supposed to be scary and it's not. The main girl, I don't even know her name, but she's in a restaurant with Bear. I know his name. How can you forget the name Bear? Anyway, she's with him in a restaurant, and It's the I thought we were having a nice date scene. Is that what's supposed to be scary, or is it something different? Is it the car scene? I don't know. I've seen a lot of it just through clips, and it doesn't seem that terrifying to me, like at all. I don't know. I have very different preferences about what's scary and what's not versus most people. Can't handle anything paranormal. I can't. Anything psychological though, I can do pretty much anything. I was just watching a video on Dismaland. I'd heard about the concept before, but I'd never gotten big into it. And stuff like that, that's cool to me. But don't put on The Conjuring and stuff like that around me. I can watch the Sam and Colby videos about it. That's it. That's as far as I'll go. I can't get into paranormal stuff. It's not good for me. But I also noticed the trend in YouTubers making movies now and how that's making Hollywood different. And I think that's a great concept. I think it's amazing that there are more YouTubers who are making stuff. And Iron Lung came out a few months ago. I went to Universal and I learned that they had a movie theater in Universal. I didn't know that. And they were playing Iron Lung that night. Unfortunately, it was too late, so we couldn't see it, but pretty interesting. There are a lot of movies made by YouTubers, which is great because they have so much creativity. And Ken Parsons is the youngest director ever. 20. He's only 2 years older than me. So that's very cool to me. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the podcast episode soon because I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about regarding the Backrooms. I think the next episode may be about animals, or if anyone wants advice or something like that. I can do literally anything. So if you guys have any requests for what you want in the next podcast episode, just let me know, because I can do an advice segment like Curtis Connor, or I can do reviews of videos that anyone sends me. Not like this podcast is gonna get popular. I know it won't, but it's a thought. So yeah, let me know. I can do anything. So I'm like Steve Harrington. Okay. Anyway, I hope everyone has a good day. I hope you enjoyed this analysis of the Backrooms, my 23-minute long analysis. So yeah, bye.